It is Thursday, May 19th, 2022, 4 p.m. It's a regular monthly meeting of the Augsburg Bridge and Port Authority. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Lawrence?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do not have any letters or communications to the board, but in your board read file basically talks about the port and then our alternate EAS and our economic development director, which was a good article. Anthony, thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Any questions on any of the board read stuff?
No. Tony or Megan, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Move on to approval of board minutes of April 7th, 2022. Mr. King?
Yes, the minutes were gone over and I found them to be in order, so I would approve or move to approve the minutes for April 7th.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the board minutes of April 7th, 2022, say aye. Aye. Get that, Anne Marie? Okay. Move on to presentations and reports. Income and expense report, Chris?
Well, our outside auditor is in the process of wrapping up the audit for the authority's books for the financial year that ends at the end of March. And we have not had a finance committee while that work was underway and in process. So I don't really have anything to report, but this is perfectly normal for this time of year. They did contact me to ask whether or not I knew of any, and they had a list of things like conflicts of interest or, incorrect records and things of that nature. And as expected, I knew of no such problems. I believe that things are in good shape.
Good. Anyone have any questions of Chris? No? Nicole?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Megan?
No, I'm all set. Thank
Tony?
No, I'm all set. Thanks.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the bridge traffic report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. April was really the first full month with some of the bridge crossing requirements from Canada were lifted. And we did see a pretty good pulse the first week of traffic. It kind of leveled off, but if you'll notice when you see the 22 numbers compared to 2019, that 40% is a better number than what we were going to use for our budget. So I think, what was our number, 55, 60? 60%. So if every month when we do this, if that number stays below 60, it'll match up with kind of how we budgeted. But we do realize there was a kind of a pent up demand, so that, maybe that number was a little bit, rosier. I mean, we're not complaining, but then when you see auto crossings compared to last year, it's more than doubled there. And then when you look at income compared to last year, that's very good news, but it is still down by almost half of what it was during normal times, but it is encouraging. And then with this upcoming Victoria Day weekend, we'll see how holidays kind of figure into our bridge traffic there. So overall, we did notice trucking when you see compared to last year, I think that's where some of the vaccination issues with truckers have kind of affected that. When you see the decline in that, but we'll see what happens in May. Any questions on that?
Megan, Tony, any questions?
No, Steve.
Numbers are all moving in the right direction.
Yes.
Okay, the airport activity,
They're going in the opposite direction. We had an abysmal April. I have seen in the last week and a half to 2 weeks, the passenger count has gone up, and I'm hoping that continues. And I am getting many, many calls about the new service. So I'm very hopeful with that folks are happy about that. I did have a quick email on from our website, and I'll read it from a gentleman who said, accounting for gas, I will save $50 flying out of Ogdensburg versus Watertown.
good.
So that was good news. I think our announcement yesterday went very well. Now, as far as our occupancy report, it has not changed from last month. You will see in the board resolutions, hangar 9 that is currently unoccupied, we will be renting. Any questions or comments?
No? Online, anyone? Tony, questions, comments?
No, I don't have any questions. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you. If not, let's move on to the port activity report.
Yes, down at the port, currently, we're on vessel number 3 as I speak right now. We're unloading windmill towers for the number 3 project, which is down near Lowville. We've unloaded all of the nacelles and the hubs and all of the blades over the last 2 ships. And this is our 3rd out of another 4 to come. 2 to this project and 2 to another project. We're optimizing all of our property. That's been a big plus with our customer. And we'll be unloading that until probably early Saturday. It will then go to Oswego, and then it will come back here because of the way the ship was loaded. It had some Oswego components. They have to be lifted off there, and then it'll return back here. So technically, it'll be 5 more ships, but it's the same ship returning, but we'll take it. It's been going well, knock on wood. It's been safe and no incidents at all with anything there. It's kind of what we do. When the guys get in a groove, they do a very good job with that. And you're going to see a lot of cranes down there because of the nature of the stow. We have to unload part of this ship with a 500-ton crane, which is the largest we've had in there. We've had up to 300 ton, but this one will be working in tandem with one of the ship's cranes to get, and things are getting wider, heavier. And there's going to come a point where, the roadways can only take so much and things like that. So I think that drives efficiency later on. And then, but we're seeing heavier 5-part tower sections. So they part them out so that they can reduce the weight, but yet get more height. So that's kind of something we're seeing. Our partners have done a very good job of actually reaching out to try to secure some later work with one of our, but made the port look very appealing for storage of components later on in the year, even though it's really not destined for a project around this area. But it's a 50-50 thing, but we're always, at least we've got a chance at that. So that's been doing well. Grain has been kind of, salt is done, but grain has been kind of just regular, nothing, not a lot coming in and just steady going out of what we've had. I don't know, I try to follow the market, and what happens there, but it changes so often there, so. But yeah, good news at the port.
Great.
Any questions, comments?
Megan, Nicole? No? Tony, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, we'll move on to the building occupancy report, Anthony.
Great. So this will look largely unchanged since last month, with the exception of a new addition to Building 1 of the Commerce Park of Live Fast Motors. Much of my activities have been having introductions with our current tenants, kind of seeing what their needs are, what's working, what's not working, space requirements, things of that nature. So I've had the good fortune to meet the majority of our tenants and a good group of people, and looking forward to maximizing their presence with us, as well as bringing in some new folks.
Good, I like the layout of the report. Question I have, on Building 1, the 8758 square feet of non-rentable.
Yeah, it seems like a large number.
Yeah.
The way Building 1 has been broken up historically leads for common spaces, so restrooms, hallways, things of that nature, that, believe it or not, add up to a lot of unusable space, unrentable. It's shared space. So people use it, but it's hard to kind of capitalize on that usage. So it's all, as we strategically look at what our building footprint is and what kind of companies we have or will obtain, that's all, it's on our radar to best maximize.
Good.
Yeah, I was just wondering how complex, I haven't been through the building, so I don't know, but how it wouldn't be easily reconfigurable. Is that
True.
true,
That's true.
accurate to say? Okay.
Any questions of Anthony? Mhm. Megan, Nicole? Tony, any questions of Anthony? Been here 2 full months now, everything should be perfect. Right. By now. Okay, good. Are you gonna do the next one too? Industrial, commercial prospect report?
Yeah, that's essentially, it was largely client retention activities,
Okay.
and then with light new prospects. So I'm hoping in the next couple of months to have some good progress, good traction for spaces that may become available over the next couple of months.
Okay. We haven't packed his bags for him yet to send him across the river or anything?
We're getting there.
Working on it. Send me off in a field.
We signed him up for a couple in-state things. But, I think we'll introduce him to some contacts and kind of get you going on some of that stuff. So
Okay. Unfinished business.
there is none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll move on to business items. Agenda item A1, approval of purchase of a new dump truck with snowplow. Mr. Lawrence, is that you?
Yes, we are in the market for a new dump truck with snowplow to replace our 2002 International plow truck, which has reached the end of its useful life. Currently, I believe we've got it roadworthy for this coming year. And basically a number of mechanics, even our own, said without quite a bit of money, it won't be roadworthy the next time around. So we did what we could to get it safe and roadworthy, but it's going to be a tough one to, so we really need to replace that. So I worked with Patty, and this was budgeted in this year, but come to find out when we got the quote through Stadium International, it won't be available for 12 to 15 months. So we just won't spend the money that we budgeted, and we'll roll it over into the next budget. It is roughly $20,000 to $22,000 more expensive than we had budgeted, but at least we can plan for that. And but we've locked in that price, but we're just, we'll be able to plan for that extra when budget time comes around in November. We'll work on that. We were able to obtain a quote, kind of a shared quote through the Onondaga County contract. And Stadium International was honored that, and they gave the quote, which you see before you. Like I said, it was anticipated that the funds were available in the 22-23 budget would cover this expenditure, but due to the longer than expected time of delivery of 15 months, the purchase will be completed in September of 23-24 budget year. We've reviewed the details of this purchase and recommend purchasing this vehicle from Stadium International at $175,112.50.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second? Can we still use the 2002 until we get that next September?
Yes.
Steve, where's this truck predominantly used?
This one will be used in the park here.
Okay.
And before there was some interchange with, because the port now, or the airport has their snow removal
Right.
equipment. We used to, one of those was kind of dedicated out there at one point, and we'd interchange
Okay.
with that. But right now it's for the bridge, Commerce Park, and helping out the port access road.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Megan, Nicole, Tony? No? Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. No further discussion. Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Coffin,
Yes.
Ms. Clerk Pippen.
Yes.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Ms. Whitney.
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy.
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Good. Agenda item B1. Approval of a use permit with NIGS 2.
Yes, NIGS 2 has been sponsoring an annual kickball tournament, and it will be held June 11th, 2022. It's a property use permit. And they've requested the use of our property right out to the west of the building. The use permit has been prepared for NIGS 2 to use the field in front of the bridge approach building for the tournament. The conditions attached to this approval include requirement for proof of appropriate insurance coverage, naming of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority as the additional insured, and a security deposit in the amount of $150. Staff recommends approval of the permit.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved
A second.
and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion? Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Mr. Coffin,
Yes.
Ms. Clerk Pippen.
Yes.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Ms. Whitney.
Yes.
Mr. Minot.
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Agenda item B2.
Okay. approval of lease agreement with Renus Project Logistics Incorporated. So staff has negotiated an industrial lot lease agreement with Renus Project Logistics Incorporated for a section of the Bridge Administration Building parking lot for the storage of up to 10 train car coaches for an 8-week period, commencing May 8th, 2022, and terminating July 2nd, 2022, at a rate of $500 per week per 5-coach cluster for 4 weeks, and increasing by $100 each week, commencing on week 5. So this is the agreement for the train cars out in the parking lot. So resolved that the executive director is hereby authorized and directed to execute an industrial lot lease agreement with Renus Project Logistics Incorporated for a section of Bridge Administration Building parking lot for the storage of up to 10 train car coaches for an 8-week period, commencing May 8th, 2022, and terminating July 2nd, 2022, at a rate of $500 per week per 5-coach cluster for 4 weeks, and increasing by $100 each week, commencing on week 5.
There a motion?
Also moved.
There's,
Second.
thank you. Anthony, how much that parking lot does this leave space for?
So what you see currently is maxed out. If there's more cluster, it will go behind building 1 in the Commerce Park campus. So there's parking available behind that building. So basically what you see is as much as we're going to accept in this lot.
Are there 5 or 4?
So there's 4 large ones and then
Okay.
like an interconnecting piece.
Okay.
So I asked the question because of the next agenda item. Well, they're separate, but they're connected in a sense that we had designated that area for parking for the beach. So if we use that area for this project, what does that leave for parking for the beach?
I don't think it takes, I'm more worried about, the public being around those cars and protecting them. But other than that, I don't think on the parking area, I don't think it takes more than 8 or 10 spaces. We put them to the back there and then we barricaded it off. And that was one of the reasons why we went over to building 1. They'll be bringing another set in here next Wednesday and they'll be going behind building 1. So the reason these are coming here, there's a construction strike, I believe it's with crane operators in Ottawa. And so they will not, apparently, I don't know all the details, but I assume that they can't unload those units for the OC Transpo project. They brought 4 across the bridge already. And then these other 2 that are coming, this one and then the next one would be train 6. Until that gets settled, once it's settled, they'll move these right out of here. But at the time, it's been a week or 10 days, I believe.
Yeah.
And they are hopeful it gets settled, but that was one of the reasons we put an escalator on that, is to, we can't just have somebody just staying here indefinitely. So there's an incentive for them. I don't know how big a one it is, but it helps us there. But yeah, it does affect some of the parking there, but we've cordoned that off and we're not going to be putting any more in there.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's, I know we'll talk about it when we get to the beach, but it's also commencing July 2nd, which is probably at the very beginning of any type of beach activity. So.
That's kind of how we looked at it.
Right.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Nadia, recall the roll, please.
Ms. Cook-Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitney?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Crossan,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item B3, ratification of a lease agreement with the city of Augsburg regarding a beach.
Staff has negotiated a lease agreement with the city of Ogdensburg to operate a municipal beach on vacant land adjacent to the bridge administration building. The lease has a 4-month term commencing the 1st of June 2022 and terminating on September 20th, 2022 at the following rates. Land rental, $1,000. Non-refundable deposit, $1,000. Utility costs, $1,000. The city of Ogdensburg is also required to provide proof of appropriate insurance coverage to the authority and naming the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority as an additional insured. The city has indeed paid us for the 2021 lease, less the electric charges. We waived those because not being here, there was no extra added power on our bills. So we are in good standing with the city.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion?
Just, I can't remember, was there much that happened last year or nothing happened?
Nothing happened last year.
Do we have any word? Like, does it look like things are, is there a timeline? Things are rolling along?
The
Is it
city
ready?
has been, they wanted to start 8 weeks ahead of time with water testing.
Right,
I don't know the outcome of that, but
okay.
they were, last year, they kind of were behind, I think, a little bit, so they want to get out ahead of that.
Mhm.
So they've been coming, I don't know,
Once or
once
twice
or
a week,
twice a week and
Okay.
testing the,
different times of the day.
Because that has to green light the whole,
yeah, that,
Project, right.
I'm sure that's a Department of Health.
Right.
requirement. Yeah.
okay.
Any other discussion? Discussion? Nicole, Megan, Tony? No?
I don't
Emery,
have
call
any
the roll,
questions.
please. Thank you, Tony. Emery?
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Whitney,
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes,
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Crossan,
Yes.
Mr. Pickens?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Commerce Park,
Yes. Okay.
1.
All right, approval of lease supplement number 4 with AB Technology Group Incorporated. Staff has negotiated lease supplement number 4 with AB Technology Group Incorporated for 3,626 square feet of commercial space in Building 1 of the Commerce Park campus for a 2-year period commencing October 1st, 2021 and terminating September 30th, 2023, at a rate of $550 per square foot, equaling $1,661.92 per month, $19,943.04 per year for the period October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and at a rate of $5.81 per square foot, equaling $1,755.59 per month, $21,067.08 per year for the period October 1st, 2022 through September 30th of 2023. AB Technology Group Incorporated will be responsible for its prorated share of utilities. All other terms and conditions of the original lease agreement shall remain in full force and effect and are hereby ratified and affirmed.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
second.
And seconded by Tony. Thank you. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, just a quick question, and I'm sorry if you said this already. Is this a renewal of a current
Yes.
tenant?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's essentially reflects a 2-year renewal.
okay, so any increase in the rent, or is it status quo?
I believe it's a slight increase in year 2.
Okay, I
So
mean,
it's,
from
so
what, okay,
currently it was keeping them the same, and then it'll be an
Okay.
increase in the next year.
right,
And this
thank
is
you.
retroactive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the rate hasn't changed, so for year one. So they've just been paying all along.
So, just so we all understand, when one of these comes up and it says supplement,
Mhm.
that's a renewal.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Ms. Whitten,
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli,
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Clausen,
Yes,
Ms. Cook Chitton.
Yes.
Mr. Burns.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Agenda item C2.
Okay, approval of lease supplement or renewal, number 3 for River Vista Holdings Incorporated. So staff has negotiated lease supplement, number 3 with River Vista Holdings Incorporated for 20,000 square feet of commercial space in Building 11 of the Commerce Park campus for a 3-month period commencing June 15th, 2022 and terminating September 14th, 2022 at a rate of $4.67 per square foot, equaling $7,783.33 per month, or $93,400 per year. River Vista Holdings Incorporated will be responsible for its prorated share of utilities. All of the terms and conditions of the original lease agreement shall remain in full force and effect and are hereby ratified and affirmed.
Thank you. Is there,
Some background that Anthony needs to
Yeah.
explain of why this
Yeah,
is.
so this is
Okay.
a short-term 3-month.
so
Because,
are you looking at my paper? where I said-
no, no.
Why 3 months?
So the reason for 3 months is when I contacted the tenant regarding a traditional renewal, they expressed their interest in purchasing a property in the city of Ogdensburg. So more likely than not, they will not be a tenant past September for Building 11.
Okay.
So all the details aren't finalized, and just as far as us as the landlord, that's about as much information as I have
Okay.
to share.
Mhm.
So this gets them to finalize their decisions, and which sounds like when they first became a tenant at the Commerce Park campus, that was their original intent for this specific property in the city, but it wasn't available at the time for them.
So
And
that'll leave 20,000 square feet in building 11, right?
Anthony did reach out, excuse me, but Anthony did reach out and basically said, what can we do?
Oh, yes,
Yeah. And in kind of in tandem with what he was saying was they've been looking at a certain type of building for their process.
Mhm.
And I don't know a whole lot of details, but anyway, we did go back to them just
Mhm.
saying, is there something we did, or is there something, and it's just a different business plan
Yeah,
change.
yeah, certainly. We wanted to retain them as a tenant. They've been a good tenant over the years. But it's just one of those things where they have their mindset on owning their own property. So yes, that leaves us in the September timeframe with a potential for 20,000 square feet. There's current tenants that have interest in that space, potentially expanding their presence or relocating. But they're also, there's going to be work done for potential new tenants. So
Okay, good.
but it's a nice space, so that's,
Yeah,
sure, well.
You're looking ahead to fill that. So.
Yes, yes,
Anthony, a question
Sure.
about some of the terminology
Yes,
in the
yeah.
resolution.
yes.
Why is a 12-month total listed there on a 3-month contract?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It could be potentially misleading. I think in the future, I'm going to parse that down to the actual term. It was carryover from other resolutions.
That's
Would it be
93.
appropriate to amend this resolution before we approve it?
That's the 93.4 you're talking about?
Yes.
Just take that out.
That's an annualized figure.
Yeah,
Right.
It doesn't reflect really what's going to happen.
true.
The motion has it, no, there has been no motion. So Chris, you're gonna make a motion to amend this to eliminate the 93,400, correct?
I'd be delighted to do that. I'm just getting out my calculator, so bear with me.
Get those little.
Yeah. This whole process.
It's 3. So that 93.4, and Chris, you could double check my math,
Okay,
should be $23,350 for the 3-month period.
23,350.
350, yes.
I'm gonna go with your number. So I'd be interested in making a motion. Is that timely, Sam, to do that?
Yes,
I move the motion as presented, amending the total amount of the lease to $23,350.
okay. And actually, since the motion hadn't been put on the table yet,
Maybe just make the motion.
Yes, you made it with-
that.
yes.
With that
And
change.
someone seconded, Nicole, you seconded that? With
Yes, I did.
For the 23,350? Correct, Jen? Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Chris. So, the motion is, I'm sorry, the resolution is before you for the 93,004 changed to 23,350. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Ms. Cook Chron?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitney?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item D1.
Agenda item D1 is the acceptance of the 2021 Air 99 grant offer from the New York State Department of Transportation. We need a board resolution approving this grant offer as part of the grant agreement. So I'm putting this before you, authorizing the acceptance of the 2021 Air 99 grant offer from the New York State Department of Transportation, New York State DOT, for work at the Ogdensburg International Airport, described as security updates, IT improvements to emergency generators, IT system improvement to security access, lighting and communication, and acquisition of a patrol vehicle. The project PIN number is 7A0300. Whereas the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority desires to advance the project by committing funds for a local match. The funding shares being the state, New York State, 800,000, 92,991, and our share, which would be $110,000 for a total of $1,002,991.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Also move.
It's been made. Is there a second? Thank you. Steve, is this a grant we had received notification of last year?
Yeah, we've, early this year, we've been in the process. There was a mix-up with the grant information on that didn't match up with, and it was the DOT's issue. So we had to send it back and they had to get it right. So there was some slow going. We actually applied for this in August of 2020. But we're moving forward on this, and we should have more information or getting the grant paperwork resolved here in a month or so.
Is this something we can do this year?
There's some of it is, I know we did hold back with the idea of some of this would really, you may go through with some of these and they don't match up with our ask on the larger project.
Right.
But some of those, the timing of everything, I guess, on this depend, it's a domino thing.
Right.
If everything comes into place, then we know which way to go with this. And if it doesn't, and we still don't, which way to go with
Okay,
that.
all right. Any other discussion?
Excuse me, I think we budgeted the 110, didn't we, in our capital
Yes.
budget? So that money,
I thought we had.
yeah, and we'd use parts of it probably in this year, and maybe it would go into next year's budget possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
If no further discussion, Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Ms. Clifford?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Move on to D2.
Yes, sir. Staff is prepared to transfer and storage agreement for hangar space at the Ogdensburg International Airport with Mr. Timothy Birch. Mr. Birch has hangared his aircraft at OGS in the past and is in good standing. This is a new lease at the approved rate, security deposit, and required proof of insurance. The monthly rental for this hangar is $215. The terms of the agreement are as follows. Timothy Birch, taking hangar 9 from June 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
This is just 3-4 months.
Yes, he's a summer resident.
Better than having it empty for 3 months.
That's correct.
Any other discussion? Anne Marie, call the roll?
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Ms. Clifford?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
Agenda item E1.
Okay, approval of handling and storage agreement supplement number 5 with Cargill. Staff has negotiated handling and storage agreement supplement number 5 with Cargill Incorporated, extending the current agreement for an additional 4 years, commencing April 1st, 2022 and terminating March 31st of 2026, and updating the scope of services and handling fees, which in summary increases the wharfage and receiving and truck loading and scaling rates by approximately 4% and 5% respectively for the first year of the supplement and 2% annually thereafter. All of the terms and conditions of the original handling and storage agreement shall remain in full force and effect and are hereby ratified and affirmed.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So
Second?
I'll second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
is this salt or grain or both?
Salt.
Yes,
Cargill salt.
it's salt.
We've had Cargill for quite a while, haven't we?
We've had contracts with them, but they haven't really brought anything in since 2012 or 13. But they like to have, and like I tell Anthony, until they bring in 1 pound of salt, the agreement it's just really we're giving them as rates
Right.
that when they want to come here and they just want to have those kind of ironed out, I guess. And they've been doing that every year, but we haven't had any salt, Cargill salt in here in 8 or 9 years. And then they have approached us on the grain end of things too.
Okay. I just remember the name from
Yep.
ways back. Okay. Again, motion made and seconded.
Mhm.
Thank you. Any further discussion? No. Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Ms. Clifford?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King? Motion carried.
Thank you. Lawrence, any other such matters?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any concluding comments from anyone? Is press on the line?
No.
No press on the line? Anything from anyone, any member, any staff? No?
Well, a couple of people have asked me, Sam, about, or talked to me about the change in the airline. And all the response has been good about flights to Philadelphia.
Good.
It's all been
Good to hear.
very positive.
Wonderful.
I wonder if anybody else has any experience with public response.
Just mine being very positive.
Nicole, could you tell what you told me last time about some of the people you've talked to in Messina?
Yeah, sure. I've definitely gotten some positive feedback. I actually had somebody reach out before the announcement had been made. They were concerned about us going with a smaller aircraft. Her husband is a paraplegic, and they have appointments that they have to go to out of state, but then they also have children and grandchildren in Texas, and they make several trips a year. And unfortunately, they have to travel all the way to Syracuse if we were to get a smaller aircraft, because our disabled population sometimes can't use those smaller aircraft carriers. So I just thought it was really great that we're offering a service that's going to be going to accommodate another group of people in our community, so they're not forced to travel outside of the North Country. So I'm glad to hear that our plane that we're going to have is definitely going to allow for that.
Thank you, Nicole.
Nicole, you can assure that person, because she called me, that as we said earlier, it's a lot roomier than a 50 passenger. And I think it will be more comfortable and will facilitate their flight to, I think somewhere, is it El Paso maybe, or somewhere out in Texas?
Yes, and they travel there a couple of times a year because that's where all their family is. So, I think sometimes when we're making decisions, we don't consider the needs of everybody, just because it's just not in our knowledge base sometimes. So I for sure am thankful that she reached out to me, so that we can always consider that when we're thinking about the providers that we will go with.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? No? Our next meeting date is scheduled for June 7th at 4 p.m. Is that a good time for everyone? You can get on.
Yes, thank you.
Good, good. All right, so
Much better than
Yep.
Thursdays.
what's better than Thursdays? Okay, good. Mr. Lawrence, there is a need for executive session regarding a personnel matter and a proposed contract.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion to go in executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll move into executive session. We're back on. Okay. It is 5 p.m. coming out of executive session. Mr. Lawrence, is there any business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And in light of that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. King. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
Good
Jeff.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.